Now, I want to introduce Michael. Michael's going to join us. You know, it's interesting. You've seen outside, we've had Signavio, we have LeanIX, we have Tricentis in the mix, and we have as well Cloud ALM. So you're going to learn a bit in terms of how this all strings together in terms of transformation suite approach. Michael?
Thanks a lot, Paul. Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Michael Klöffer. I'm the Chief Product Owner for Cloud ALM. I'm product manager, so normally I draw pictures. But today I want to take you into the transformation suite approach and what it actually means. It started this morning with Andre in the keynote, who explained you how enterprise architecture, LeanIX, all of this come together. And there were already a few hints in Andre's presentation on the transformation suite. But we all heard, you know, businesses are changing. Every business wants to get more agile, business need to get more resilient, and we are all forced and we all want to provide sustainable outcomes from our enterprises. But what nobody is talking about are the challenges to get there. Because, I mean, it's easy to have this vision, this target to become an agile enterprise, to get my supply chain resilient, to get to a sustainable enterprise. But how at the end do you do it? So that there's uncertainty inside the market, there's uncertainty in customers. How does my business even run today? So what do I do today? How do I do it today? And if I want to transform, how do I start my transformation? What's the first step that I need to do? How do I change a small puzzle piece of my complex enterprise landscape? Then there are shortages in the market. There are shortages of knowledge in the market. There are shortages of resources in the market. There are shortage of money in the market. So you all need to see where do I get the most bang for the buck if I do my transformation? What's the biggest impact of my transformation? Where can I get the biggest value out? And then inconsistency. Because, I mean, I know it from myself when I talk to stakeholders within SAP. There are always people, you know, who want different things. So do we start with getting the business more agile, or do we get more faster sustainable? So how do you bring everybody on the table? How do you bring everybody to talk to each other and agree to the starting point and the path that you're going to take? And when you compare that with also what Stefan just showed you, the SAP portfolio, then we have the business technology platform that provides the layer. We have ERP in the center that provides a stable, clean core for running all your enterprise-related functions. Then we have industry-specific add-ons around that. We have all the LOB solutions with our partner ecosystem around it. And of course, AI needs to be into the game. So, and that's only the SAP part. I mean, there's a lot of non-SAP in customers that you need to think about. So also the application landscape, and we call this typically what's the solution of the customer, getting more and more complex. And in a transformation, you need to look at all of that. You need to look at the SAP side, the non-SAP side. You need to look at the different stakeholders. And that's, for me, the most important thing. You need to look at people, processes, applications, and data. So people run the applications. People drive the executables at the end. You have processes that define your business, processes that differentiate you from other customers. You have applications supporting these processes. This may be SAP applications, this may be non-SAP application. And at the end, everything runs on data. So data is manipulated, data is created. You want to leverage the data. That's what's the outcome of the applications for your AI scenarios and so on. And if you see that through the actual process where you, first of all, discover where you want to go, then you analyze where you actually want to be at the end, you design your to-be solution, you implement it, and after implementation and go live, you run it. This is all affecting all these layers of your landscape. And I mean, it starts with people with change management. How do I upskill my people? How do I do the learning management for these people? Then it's the classical stuff that we're talking about the whole day. So it's business process analysis and mining with Signavio, for example. It's business process management. It's automation of processes. It's the enterprise architecture topic, why you are all here. So the glue between all of those, how does this all fit together? It's application lifecycle management, where I come from with Solution Manager and Cloud ALM. It's the application portfolio management. And at the end, it's data quality, it's observability, it's data governance, it's data volume management. So all of those things you need to get under control, you need to manage, and you need to make work together. And when we within SAP first acquired Signavio, then LeanIX, we also asked ourselves, so what would be our unique approach from SAP to this whole problem? And we came up with a vision where we want to go, and I want to take you now in the next few minutes through this vision. So our vision is that we manage SAP transformation with an integrated approach, methodology, data model, and tool set. And you see this in the middle of the slide, it's one. So the idea is that nevertheless we have a diversified landscape also within SAP. We want to have one integrated approach, how you run your business transformation. We want to have one methodology, how you actually do it, who does what, when. How are you managing the follow-ups? How are you managing the artifacts that come out of that? So really a methodology that takes you step by step through the complete process of the transformation. Then it's about a consistent data model. So at the end, we also made experience in the past when you have different tools and you exchange data, you sync data, you map data around. I mean, at the end, you get inconsistencies, you get overriders, and so on. So it all gets complicated. So what we said is we need to have a nucleus in the middle where everybody in the transformation can refer to. And at the end, that's the process. So we want to establish an idea of one process where everybody refers to. If you refer to that from process analytics, where you do mining, where you have value drivers, if you refer to that from applications that run on the process is running, or executables that are running on a system, or at the end also changes that are done to the process that affect the software. So this one process is the central idea for the data model so that we can harmonize this across all the tools that we're currently discussing. And then it's about an integrated tool chain, because the tool chain supports all of these. The tool chain implements the model, the tool chain implements the methodology, and the tool chain supports you in the approach. And now with having Signavio, LeanIX, and Cloud ALM as part of the bigger SAP family, we have the opportunity to also link these tools according to the methodology and everything to help you really run a transformation. So let's look a bit more in detail into that. Also, this picture was already shown by Andre in the beginning. In the middle of that, you see again people, processes, applications, and data. So that's what the whole approach is centered around. And basically, we say we have two sides of the coin. It's fast time to insight and fast time to adapt. So fast time to insight is about how do I find out what my current situation looks like. So how can I run a process analysis? How can I discover my processes? How can I discover my applications that I currently have? And so on. Then do an analysis of that. Is it running good? Is it running bad? Attach KPIs, have key metrics to that. And from there, start a design exercise to model your to-be state. And this is modeling of the processes and modeling of the applications as well. And if you hand this then over from a insight, from a model or a design perspective to an implementation perspective, it's about, okay, so now I know where I want to go. I know how my future should look like. But now I need to think about But how do I do that with SAP software? Can I do this with S4? Do I need BTP for that? Are there LOB solutions out there? Is this stuff that I need to develop on my own as a customer and connect the pieces to each other? So that's the implementation piece. And then at the end, it's about operations because, I mean, after the game is just before the game, famous German football saying. So only the first step to get the first go live done. You also need to think about what's the second step, the third step, how do I evolve that? And that takes you into this infinity loop that you see there, because at the end, then you can start from the beginning, again, do an analysis, design new processes, adapt your scope, and so on. So, and this whole approach of doing this in an infinity loop focused around the people, processes, applications, and data, at the end, moving from a strategy side also to an execution side. So not only knowing where you want to go, but also having support to get there. Then the second part is the methodology. And some of you may know Activate. Who knows Activate? Ah, okay, cool. So Jan will be really happy. So you see the activate phases down there. So you see discover, prepare, explore, realize, deploy, run, and then continuous innovation. So Activate has been with SAP since quite some time. And we try to embed Activate as a methodology into all our tools. So you will see this in Roadmap Viewer, you see it in Cloud ALM, you also see it in Signavio to certain degrees already today. And so we sat together with all the different tools and said, okay, so now if we want to define a methodology how to run a transformation, we should do this alongside Activate, because customers know Activate, it's a proven methodology. And at the end is, you begin defining your business strategy, and therefore you can use Signavio, you can use LeanIX in that game. You can do a business and a solution architecture with predefined template and best practices that we have. You can leverage approaches like plug and gain to do reverse engineering if you already have an existing landscape, and then come to a assist process analysis. In most cases, this is a manual work, a pretty hard manual work also to get there, because you need to build this inventory of your complete landscape. And this is, for you as enterprise architect, again, the complete stack. I mean, you need business people drawing processes, and you need data people, telling you which data objects reside where, how do you interface, how do you interchange them, and so on. But then you have an as-is. And then the next step, and I'll just skip a few of them, is to go into the first loop. And for those of you who know Solution Manager or who know Cloud ALM, it's also, if we know where we want to go, we always try to tell customers, start with best practices. So look at what we have in the core, reuse what is there, and only do adaptations where needed. So run in a fit-to-standard mindset and try to keep the core of the solution clean and focus on the surroundings, on extensions you build with BTP, but on the differentiating factors that help you as a customer to succeed. And this you do in fit-to-standard workshops. You define your to-be processes. You do adaptations to best practice processes. You collect requirements. You start agile projects, link them with initiatives in LeanIX, for example. So to have also an overview from LeanIX into the actual execution of the project. You do customization, you do developments, you build extensions on BTP, train ML models, and so on. And then at the end, you have to ensure quality and perform the relevant tests. And you saw we have the colleagues from Tricentis also out there. A few years ago, we started a discussion with colleagues from Tricentis how we can leverage the expertise of a leader in automated testing also within the SAP landscape, and we did a partnership with Tricentis, and we have Tricentis integrated into Cloud ALM as an OEM, so that you can leverage for free, basically, with Cloud ALM to run all automated tests of the SAP landscape. Of course, there is reseller options on top for more functionality, like live compare, like testing outside of the classical SAP stuff. But you get a basic starter version for free already from scratch. And then the next thing is enable now. So with enable people, because if you tested and you ensured that everything works, you of course need to also, enable your people to run the processes, create training materials, learning journeys, and roll it out to the persons. And at the end, our idea is that Cloud ALM builds the orchestration platform for all of these activities. So we come from a strategy perspective with Signavio and LeanIX, enterprise architecture strategy, process to be, and then we go into execution in Cloud ALM. And then typically customers do a first go live. You run the solution, you have a live solution with version 1, and you start iterating on this live solution. And behind all of these steps that I now just explained you right away, there's of course a detailed methodology that explains how you do that step by step, how you do it in the tool, how do you document that, and so on and so on. So next thing is the data model. So our idea is really to bring all these tools on one data model. Not a complete data model, of course, but there where we have overlap, where the tools talk to each other, make sure that we're always talking about the same thing. And that's what we have here in mind with one process. And this one process is the nucleus for all the artifacts that are generated within the whole methodology. So these are, of course, the process diagrams. I mean, this is the no-brainer in the game, but it's also the test cases. So having a relationship from test cases that run at the end in Tricentis to the processes and the process step, and being able to see which of the process steps is covered by which test case really helps you in traceability when you do go live decisions. Same with requirements. So you know who posted a requirement on a process, you know which test case covers it, when did it go live, with which solution change, so with which transport at the end it moved to production. And that's not only ABAP transport, that's also cloud transports on BTP with CTMS. Then we have which applications, which interfaces, which executables, and which data objects belong to that process. That's information, of course, from Cloud ALM, that's information from Signavio, but that's also information that typically resides in LeanIX, so that you can bring all of these items together. And then we're having value drivers in there. We have risks and compliance that we run on that. We have people enablement with the trainings, and everything is centered around processes. That's why we said the process is of such importance for transformations that we want to keep this in this nucleus in the center. And then the last thing is the tool chain. And I know this is complex, and I won't read all of the boxes to you, but what we did is we did a delineation with all the tools, where we went through the different through the process and looked at what can each of the tools provide to the customer in this process. Like, the easiest to understand is in the discover section. So we have Signavio, where we can do process discovery. We can do process mining, process analysis, and really discover the processes that are running within the customer. And then we have, on the other hand side, on the bottom, we have Cloud ALM. In Cloud ALM, we know the landscape of the customer. We know which tenants, we know the versions of the tenants, we know the on-prem systems versus the cloud systems, and so on. And then if you think LeanIX, where you also have your systems and your applications in, we can now feed this landscape information from Cloud ALM into LeanIX, so you always have an up-to-date version of your landscape in LeanIX. And that relieves a lot of the stress that customers typically have when they implement LeanIX of typing in the information manually by just providing that from what we know from SAP. And then, of course, we can link this with the process landscape with process insights in Signavio. Or when you're looking at scoping or at reference content, where we can exchange scoping information between Signavio and LeanIX, or where we can exchange reference process information between LeanIX. And then, for me, one of the dearest things to my heart is the project sync, because when you start them projects and you run initiatives in LeanIX, you can then link them to projects running in Cloud ALM and not only see what did you plan as an initiative, but you can really see how is it running. Are the Q gates met within the project? Are we lagging behind in the schedule of the project, and so on. And this is all derived automatically from Cloud ALM and fed into LeanIX. And when I said it's there, you see it's green, so green means coming soon. So we're targeting to release the green ones here within the next months, and the rest later. So, but for me, the next two things which are on the roadmap is that we integrate Cloud ALM with LeanIX on the discovery section and on the project management section, so that customers get tangible benefits. And this is only a subset of the tools, of course. So these are the major tools that we see in the Transformation Suite, but there's a whole ecosystem around that. There's BTP, CTMS, there's CPI, there is data management tools, there is cloud integration automation services. I could go on and on and on. So all of these tools are there, and we're currently looking how do we plug these tools together and how do we string them so they fit to the methodology. And if we look then into Cloud ALM, I mean, that's why I'm basically here, is also to give you a short glimpse in what we're doing in Cloud ALM. Cloud ALM is about solution transformation. So while business transformation is the overarching theme, how you transform your business, solution transformation, at the end, it's about software. So how do I move from software stack A to software stack B? How do I renovate my ECC landscape to an S4 landscape? How do I implement new SAP solutions? And that's where we started already 2 or 3 years ago with Cloud ALM to provide an alternative for customers where Solution Manager was too heavy. So Cloud ALM is one of the largest applications on BTP. It's a cloud-native application. It's available to all customers as part of their subscription or maintenance for free. There's no additional license fee attached. You can just go into SAP for me and provision a tenant, and within 15 minutes, you can start working in Cloud ALM. And then in Cloud ALM, it's about designing the to-be solution, looking at best practice content, running fit-to-standard workshops, collecting requirements, maybe even for customers who do not own Signavio, do small adaptations to the process models themselves. So we got a lightweight process modeling tool also inside Cloud ALM. Of course, Signavio provides far better user experience on there, but basically you start there and collect the requirements for your initial backlog of a project. And then we have the project management or the build management activities. So we have a agile build environment where we can use Activate roadmaps as a starting point for your journey if you do new implementations, if you do conversions, if you're implementing S4 or Concur or whatever. We have these template roadmaps there, and you can extend them with your own content. So break down your requirements into user stories, put them in a project plan, put them in a sprint plan, and we have integrated planning and reporting functionality that helps you really tracking your project from beginning to end. Then it's quality management to ensure project quality and also go live quality. Of course, managing all the tests is really important. And in Cloud ALM, we manage manual tests. In Cloud ALM itself, we manage automated tests by leveraging either Tricentis or via an open API, also other partner tools for automated testing. And we also integrate, for example, in S4HANA Cloud, there is an own test automation tool that's also connected to Cloud ALM. And we orchestrate across all of that. We do test planning, make sure that you can take a viable go-live decision and ensure the quality of your delivery. And then at the end, it's about managing the successful go-live. So how do you make sure that in these distributed and complex landscapes, all the artifacts that are created are moving to the production system at the right point in time. So we orchestrate ABAP TMS, we orchestrate CTMS, we orchestrate ATO, and we have integrations planned also for CI/CD pipelines. We have integrations to manage low-code development on BTP. And at the end, the goal is that we have traceability from a process with a requirement through all the user stories and the tests that have been done to the transport that's moved to production. And you have a single button that you can click that moves everything that you need to the production system, independent of the technology. And that's all there today. And we're just trying now, how do we integrate this better with LeanIX, with Signavio in this transformation suite approach. So we're talking typically about design, build, test, and deploy. I put you a few screenshots there. There's more information available. But we have support for processes, documentation, and requirements, projects, tasks, user stories, test plan, test cases, and defect management, and then releases, features, and fixes. So that you have basically an environment with an end-to-end methodology, with open APIs to integrate into your existing landscape, into third-party tools, and have the integrated analytics, traceability from beginning to end to manage your project. And I said there are further integrations, and just to give you an idea what's already available today as integrations that we bring together in Cloud ALM. That's the best practice content that you know from Best Practice Explorer in the past, now Signavio Process Navigator. It's the BTP document management service to store documents. It's Enable Now that helps you create process-based learning content. Then we have external interfaces for BPMN tools and also for ticket management tools in there. We have the Activate methodology. We have the SAP Readiness Check that provides you an analysis of your existing S4 system and recommendations on what you need to do in order of your ECC system and the recommendations that you need to go to S4. Data transformation tools, central business configuration. I'm not going to read out all of them. So this is that's really the majority of the work that we do, is bringing everybody within SAP on the same page and bringing them to one methodology, to one tool set that we can give to our customers. And that takes me back to that slide, because that's where it started and that's also where it ends. Our vision is to provide you, our customers, our partners also, with the tool set and the approach to manage business transformations for your customers. The integrated approach, the implemented methodology that you can run on a consistent data model with an integrated tool chain. I hope I could help you understand what we do with business transformation and the transformation suite approach. We'll be around. We are outside. Just come to us and have a nice evening. Thanks a lot.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. And thanks again for all our live stream people sort of viewing online as well. Pardon? Okay. I want to see if you're paying it. I wanted to see if you were paying attention. And you folks are getting so good at the photos.
You trained them.
I trained them well.
You trained them.
Best smiles. They're getting real good at this. Thank you. And thank you, Michael. All the best with the car stuff. Okay.